I am Mike Ford, chair of the Gerald R. Ford Presidential Foundation, and I'm delighted to be with General Colin Powell and Roger Porter, one of our trustees of the foundation and the chair of our awards committee that nominated General Powell for the Ford Medal. We are living in unusual times. Traditionally, the foundation has presented the Gerald R. Ford Medal for Distinguished Public Service at an in-person event. But due to the pandemic, we are having to record this today. We are delighted to be with General Powell here overlooking the White House, where he served with distinction for 4 United States presidents, and to honor him and recognize his exemplary service to our nation. Roger, at this time, I'm going to turn it over to you to encapsulate some of the qualities that General Powell set as a high mark and make him very worthy to receive the 2021 Gerald R. Ford Medal for Distinguished Public Service. Roger.
Well, thank you, Mike. We measure service in a variety of ways: by the length of time, by the courage required, by the breadth of assignments, and the depth of accomplishments. In these and other ways, the service rendered by Colin Powell is widely acknowledged by a grateful nation as distinguished and exemplary. Indeed, for many years, he has been recognized as one of the most admired Americans. His distinguished service comes in 3 distinct yet interrelated arenas. The first and longest is his military service. He spent 35 years in the U.S. Army after graduating from the ROTC program at the City University of New York. His command and staff positions took him from Asia to Europe to many places in the United States. He earned the confidence of the soldiers he commanded in the field and the flag officers that he led in the Pentagon, attaining the rank of 4-star general. In his military career, he was a trailblazer, the youngest ever to serve as chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, the only African-American, the first African-American to hold that position, and the only ROTC graduate. As chairman of the Joint Chiefs, he played an integral role in advising the president and building the coalition that led to the remarkable victory in the First Gulf War. His second major arena of service was as a diplomat and shaper of foreign policy. He served as deputy and then national security advisor to President Ronald Reagan, and later as the 65th Secretary of State, confirmed unanimously by the United States Senate during the first term of President George W. Bush's administration. As National Security Advisor, he built a strong and effective interagency process to advise the President. And as Secretary of State, he did much to attract, develop, and retain a talented group of diplomats all around the world. In speaking with many who served with him at the National Security Council and in the Department of State, one is struck by their uniform assessment that Colin Powell's care for them was deep and genuine, and that they were proud to serve under his leadership. He gave his best advice to the presidents whom he served, and then faithfully carried out their decisions. President Ford once told me within 5 months of coming into office that he had discovered there were lots of people eager to tell him what they thought he wanted to hear, and far fewer people willing to tell him what they thought he needed to know. Colin Powell always conveyed what he thought the president needed to know rather than what he wanted to hear. His third major arena of service is inspiring and investing in future generations of Americans through chairing America's Promise, the Alliance for Youth, an organization that he and his wife of 59 years, Alma, founded, a national nonprofit organization dedicated to mobilizing people from every sector of American life to build the character and the competence of young people. Citizens, young and older, need role models. We select role models in part because of what they do, and in part because of who they are. What do they demonstrate through their choices? What are their priorities? What qualities of character do they exhibit as they pursue their priorities? Like President Ford, for Colin Powell, character is as important as policy. The qualities of integrity, trustworthiness, determination in the face of adversity, diligence, self-confidence with respect for the views of others, self-discipline in personal life, that this award seeks to recognize are ones that Colin Powell has exhibited through a lifetime of selfless service. It's a privilege to join in honoring General Colin Powell as he receives this year's Gerald R. Ford Presidential Medal for Distinguished Public Service.
Thank you, Roger. General Powell, in reflecting on the long list of your leadership qualities and your outstanding expressions of public service, as well as your own story of personal and character development, I am reminded of my own father, Gerald R. Ford, and the life journey that he took as a child, a young person, an emerging civic leader, and all the way to 25 plus years in the United States Congress, Vice President, and eventually President of the United States. Your lives overlapped during some of these very memorable years, and there were many parallels in your respective trajectories to national prominence, leadership, and service. Both you and my father came from very modest backgrounds growing up, and you both faced many difficult personal and societal challenges. Each of you learned the lessons of hard work, personal discipline, telling the truth, respect for all people, gratitude, teamwork, and perseverance in the face of setbacks. Along the way, you both were blessed with the love and support of your family, your multiple mentors, and many friends, and these relationships engendered a spirit of gratitude and humility in each of your lives. You also shared common life experiences which fostered a deep appreciation for human history, and American history in particular, which led both of you to have a deep love for our American Republic and democracy, with its enduring values of freedom, justice, peace, equality, and opportunity for all. Your devotion to our country and its people led each of you to step forward and serve honorably and sacrificially in the United States Armed Forces to protect and to preserve our national security and to help make the world a better place for all nations and all people. And each of you followed your own separate paths to go on in your professional careers to serve the nation at the very highest level of executive leadership. You as Secretary of State, and my father as President of the United States. Throughout much of my father's and your formational and progressive steps of life, you both were guided by a deep sense of moral obligation and calling to serve others for the greater good while seeking their flourishing, their prosperity, and well-being in all dimensions. And both of your lives have been characterized by the qualities cited by the Ford Medal: strength of character, integrity, trustworthiness, fidelity to the principles in decision-making, decisiveness, particularly during periods of crisis, determination in the face of adversity, diligence, self-confidence balanced with respect for others, sound judgment, and self-discipline in one's personal life. My father held you, General Powell, in the very highest regard as a leader of our United States Armed Forces and as a leader of our United States Department of State. And if he were with us today, and I truly believe he's here with us in spirit, he would be delighted and thrilled to know of your recognition as the recipient of the 2021 medal, Ford Medal, in his name. With your remarkable legacy of principled leadership and compassionate public service, it is my great honor and pleasure to present you with the Gerald R. Ford Medal for Distinguished Public Service.
Thank you so much.
Congratulations.
Thank you so much. Appreciate it very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very much, gentlemen. I will never forget this moment. I will never lose sight of this medal. President Ford meant a lot to me. In the 70s, when he was Vice President and President of the United States of America and doing remarkable service for the country, I was in the Army. I'd served time in Vietnam, and when he was in the presidency, I served some time in Korea. But what I always saw at that period was that the country was in a desperate situation. We had people resigning, vice president, the president, and all that had to be replaced. We were coming out of a couple of wars. We were having other problems within the country. But the one thing that was a great savior for us, all of us, was President Gerald Ford, a gentleman, an American, a pure American, who had no illusions about what he was supposed to be doing in this country. I got to know that person. I got to know him, and I watched as we went through those conflicts and as we gained our standing again in the world and within the country. Jerry Ford at the same time would do things that people would kind of giggle at. He would occasionally fall, and people giggled at it. I thought it was very, very human. It made him a human being, and it made him as normal as any of the rest of us. He had other things like that. I remember once, years later, when he was with the America's Promise Alliance that my wife and I had founded, he joined us, and we wanted him to take off his jacket, which he always had on, looked good, and put on just a t-shirt that had our motto on it. He looked like he wasn't sure about that, but he did it. He did it. That's who Jerry Ford was. He was a pure American who knew what America was all about, American who knew that sometimes he would have to make sacrifices, which he did when he told people they could go home and they did not have to stay in government. He did it again when he gave relief to a number of American GIs who really did not serve or never really got in to serve, but he gave them freedom so that we can move on and not be stuck by these things behind us. And so Jerry Ford, I think, was a remarkable man, remarkable individual, a man who was a American to the depth of his soul, blessed with a great family and blessed with a wife who was just as great as he was. This is a medal that I will treasure forever. It'll always be nearby, and I want to assure these two gentlemen that I ask that they give my thanks to members of the foundation, to the trustees. It means a great deal to me, just as President Ford still means a great deal to me as he stabilized the country and got the country moving again. So gentlemen, I thank you both for this award, and please convey my best wishes and my thanks to those who were responsible for it. Thank you.